Acupuncture stimulates the parasympathetics, hack your body into believing like everything is okay.
Yes.
And
why would it be around for 2,000 years if it wasn't like helping someone?
Yeah.
Had a little bit of a trigger warning before that conversation. If you're going to get grossed out by
my neck hurts and then you put needles in my wrist and then I leave feeling fine. Like, okay.
The most important factor to a healthy well-being is feeling connected. Welcome to From There to Here,
a safe place where we will explore some of life's adventures so that you do not feel alone.
Hola, everybody. Remember when you did that?
Yeah.
I don't remember what episode that was, but thought I'd start us off there. This is your favorite podcast, From There to Here, with Jess and Shannon, and we have a wonderful guest with us today again. So stay tuned for that fun interview. Jess, what's in your heart lens?
My 10-year wedding anniversary.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I feel like that's something to be noted.
Yeah.
10 years is a really, really long time.
Yeah, there's stats about that.
Really?
I don't know them, but
Oh, I was like, tell me something smart.
the divorce rate decreases.
Much lower. Really?
Yes, I do know
Well,
that's
it
true.
seems
but-
like that would make sense, right?
Yeah.
But
If you can make it 10 years, you can make it 50.
20, 50, as many as you
Sure.
need. Yeah. So it was really, I mean, just hitting that mark was really exciting, right? And we had this great day planned to go boating all day and just like spend the day together with Jude. And I started the day with Lenny puking off the bed.
Happy
my dog.
anniversary.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
But it reminded me very much of our wedding day because our little dog at the time, Sophie, had eaten like all the food at the dress rehearsal because it was at my parents' house, the same location as the wedding. And she was awake like all night, crying, like because her stomach hurt. It had to have been, which we realized then because I had to take her out at 4 a.m. and she puked all over where like the aisle was for me to walk down like in a few hours. So then it was like 4 a.m. and I like went into my parents' room. I'm like, will you just take this dog so I can sleep a few hours before I have to be a bride? So they did. So that reminded me of Lenny because then Lenny's puking off the bed, 10-year wedding anniversary.
Yes.
Oh, this gets better. Then Shannon knows this. Shandon, our guest here, doesn't know this yet. We're working on potty training, Jude. So he's running around naked except for a shirt and he has to poop. So
where do you poop when you're potty training?
Well, you try to run to the toilet, but he didn't make it to the toilet. He pooped on the floor. And then you want to know what Lenny did?
What do dogs do?
He did what you can imagine.
Yeah,
he ate some of Jude's poop.
Yeah.
Boy, Jess, I could hear him in the laundry room cleaning it up. Thank God it was like on hard floor, right? He's like gagging. He's like about to throw up because he's just thinking about the fact that the dog ate the human poop.
Yeah.
And it is freaking disgusting.
I know, but that is hilarious. I don't know why, but people gagging makes me laugh. The sound of people gagging makes me laugh.
Well, yeah, that happened. That was how we started the day. And then we went boating
happy
and
anniversary.
we were on the sandbar and it started downpouring rain. So I think the moral of the story is we can just like have fun and get through anything.
Yes.
It doesn't matter the
Shit
circumstance.
and rain.
Totally. Whatever. It's just life, right?
Yeah, there you go.
So,
Life hands you shit sometimes.
it does. And hopefully your dog doesn't eat it. Anyway. Shannon, what's in your heartland?
I'm going to be really quick with mine.
Okay.
My dad's very positive outlook on life is my heart lens
I love
today.
it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Our guest, Shandon.
Shandon.
Not to be confused with Shannon.
Yes.
This is why I'm getting confused. Shandon, what's in your heart lens?
I thought I had an answer and now I don't. Let me think about it again. I think just like I got married, which was just a miracle.
Seriously, did you
I
think
just
you were never going to do that?
I don't know. I just had tabled it or thought like I was too picky or, whatever. And it would just wasn't the right person, and then it just was, and
then
that's what's supposed to happen.
Poop on the floor and rainstorms.
Yeah, we've had a lot of chicken poop, so
Well,
that's
something.
the first living thing that we've adopted. Yeah, and they sent us 2 extras. So
well, that's like a little.
Do you have names for your chickens?
He's named one.
Okay.
I don't know.
Are you gonna eat them?
No, they're not meat
okay.
chickens. They're layers, but no, maybe one will be friendly and maybe it'll get a name, but they have to work for their names.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
True. Okay. My kids had to work for their names too. It's 9 months of growing in there.
Right. And 11 years of
waiting.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, true. All right. Well, if you want to share your personal heart lens with us, we welcome you to leave a comment on all the social platforms. Email us at podcastfromtheretohere@gmail. Go to our website, podcastfromtheretohere.net.
Oh, and don't forget,
YouTube.
Our website has several tabs across the top, as most websites do, right, people? Anyway, there's one. What does it say? I should have known this before I started talking about it.
To go to Heartland, to share your Heartlands?
Well, there's the Heartlands one.
Okay.
So that's a great place to share your Heartlands. If
I think it's called
share it in the
Share Your
episode.
Story.
Oh,
that's
okay.
the tab.
Cool. And then there are more tabs.
Cool.
Cool. That's not what I wanted to talk
Okay.
about. No.
Next.
It was the fact that we're linking some of the things that we talk about in our episodes. We're linking products and sharing that with you on our website. So if you're ever Jess and Shannon are so smart and they talk about such cool products, those are all linked on our website. So if you need a gift for someone or you want to find a good book to read, that might be a good place to go and look.
Yes, absolutely. So there you go.
We have our guest with us today, Chandon, as you learned during our Heartlands segment. And I don't know if you remember, but in previous episodes, Shannon and I
was just holding up the number 1 finger to indicate to Jess that it was our very first episode, the F word, where we talked about this.
Where we talked about all the things that we could do to get us pregnant, right? Because there's all these things that make you pregnant, and it's not apparently just
5 times really
sex.
fast, and you're going to get pregnant.
Right. Hold your legs up the wall for the whole
20
night's
minutes.
sleep after your husband's
sperm goes into you. There we go.
That didn't work either. Timed, whatever. We did everything. And acupuncture was one of the things that both Shannon and I had tried in our little journey of infertility. Get the button. Yeah. There we go. Oh, you can't hear it unless you'll hear it in the episode. But anyway, we have someone with us here today that supported us in our journey during infertility. She is an acupuncturist and owner of Isthmus Wellness here. Partner here in the Madison area. And she is here. Do you have any more titles? You've got more titles than acupuncturist, but I don't know all of them.
That's enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
But she is here to talk to us today about women and hormones and maybe how acupuncture could support pregnancy for some, right? And anything else on that topic that just starts spewing out of her extremely smart mouth and brain. So thank you for being here with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Do you remember working with Shannon and I way back in the day?
I'm supposed to say so.
I know, but we're
client confidentiality, all the HIPAA stuff we signed. No, she doesn't remember.
Yeah. No, I remember a lot of people.
Yeah.
Tell us the coolest person ever.
That I've worked with?
Yeah. What?
Was it me?
Oh my God. I was where are we going with this?
There was one time there was a famous artist that
for real?
went through. I just worked on the person that was the gear person.
Oh.
But one of my colleagues worked on this famous artist, and we were all being such groupies about it. We're like, okay, we like saw the name and we're like, is that a joke? And like it was all good. And, you know, she had a good experience and stuff. But we were
obviously can't tell us the name. And now I'm
We've narrowed it down. It was a female.
I didn't think that question was going to go anywhere.
It was a female.
Okay, let's start with a serious one.
All right, let's.
What is acupuncture?
Oh, that's the boringest question.
So many people, well, maybe not so many, but there have got to be people out there that don't know what it is. My definition is going and getting poked by a bunch of needles, and somehow it feels good.
Somehow it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
How would you define it, though?
How do I define it? I mean, as it relates to fertility?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things besides the acupuncture that I think go into fertility. You know, that's just
100%. Right?
Yeah. And so much of our time together is just figuring out basic stuff like, are we eating breakfast? Are we having coffee when there's after we've eaten? Or, you know, just some real like blue light, I think, is a big issue. Like people scroll. I mean, there's so many layers.
Like my eyes lit up when you said blue light because I'm like, whoa. Blue light's affecting my fertility? But
I know. I mean, it's like you just keep digging and, you know, whatever maybe I was saying 10 or 20 years ago, hopefully it changes, right? So it's probably maybe a little bit different now.
Right, because it was like 10 years ago since you were poking me at least.
Yeah.
But how does acupuncture work? Is that a fair question? Every time I'm there, I'm like, meridians and lines on my, like, what? Like, tell us more about that.
I mean, so as it relates to fertility, I think it depends where you are in your cycle and like what we're focusing on, if we're in the first, second, third, or fourth week. The way it works is by allowing your body to go into a healing state. So like a regular, you know, like a regular shot that stimulates like fight or flight, where acupuncture stimulates the parasympathetic. So it's like, it's very rejuvenating and helps the body to naturally heal. So it can help sort out issues with like blood flow and hormone imbalance. They've shown that getting acupuncture also like lowers cortisol. And so much of fertility is like, how can we even... Everyone says don't be stressed. Well, it's ridiculous because it's like you're counting days and overanalyzing like twin, you know, and all of that. But I think, you know, getting acupuncture is great for those stressful situations because it does it's a way to kind of override or almost hack your body into believing like everything is okay. And so it's just one more tool, just like, you know, there's a lot of tools, but I think it's particularly strong the way it affects the nervous system. I've always noticed that. Like, I'll go get massage and I love it and it feels good, but some days it's like, I just need acupuncture. Like, I just really need that reset. And the way my nervous system feels after is like totally different. Like, it has a very sedating effect. And I feel like in this day and age, couldn't use some sedating.
Right.
Every single human going through infertility or not, right? I mean, it's a busy world out there, ladies and gentlemen.
So tell me, how do you know where to put the needles?
How do I know?
And are they called needles? Am I saying them?
Yeah, you could say needles. It depends. I bet you love that answer.
So for example... like in between my eyebrows was like a really popular place. Yeah. And then sometimes it would be on top of my head or on my ears.
On the top
like
of the head one.
It seemed there was some consistency to where the needles were being placed, but some, I guess, depended on my cycle maybe or...
It depends where you are in your cycle. So like if someone's pre-ovulation or ovulation... I'll likely treat them face up, like unless they're having like back pain and some other things that really draw me to treat them face down. And there's different systems that I'll do. I a lot of times lead with a Japanese style. So it's a way of pressing on your body. And
so there's different styles of acupuncture.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. It's debatable. Like Japanese could potentially be really old Chinese, but there's new systems that have been put in to place in the past like 70 years. in China. But yeah, so the Japanese style, it's a way of pressing on the belly in different areas, and like the tenderness will indicate like needing to clear that point. And so it might be more detoxifying, or it might be more like nourishing.
Person in there telling you it's tender, or can you feel that?
I mean, I can sometimes feel it, but they'll say if it's tender or not, and then I'll check points, with my hands and make sure that we're clearing the point. And if we can clear it, then I'll needle it.
Some thing that I always would find interesting is like I would have a point, right, that's tender, and then like the person, you or whoever I was seeing, would touch like another point. Like if you touched it on my stomach, now you're touching my ankle and my arm, and you just knew like this is going to be the point. And I'm like, wait a second, like how in the world were these connected, and why did you know that was also going to be tender? Can you speak to that at all?
Well, I kind of, at this point, I have an order typically in which I press. Maybe when I was a younger acupuncturist, I just kind of go around, but there's a few places you want to always clear first, because if those are stuck, like, it would almost translate as like an autoimmune area or, just general stagnation or sluggishness in the belly area. If those are tender, you want to kind of stay on those and clear them until you kind of move on. So then you can kind of go down to like the ovary reflex or blood sugar. I think blood sugar is a big issue with fertility that people aren't probably getting all the time. Like unless it's so escalated that you get diagnosed with PCOS or something like that. But I think a lot of underlying blood sugar issues are a big problem.
Interesting.
Yeah, because then hormonal issues can then kind of cascade off of that, and vice versa, really. Yeah. So a lot of like, it's not always like what we eat; it's like how we eat and when. I think is really important. And
when should I eat ice cream?
Well, I can give you a recipe. After you've had enough, after you've had protein and fat in your body. But like ice cream, I don't think is all bad. Like I made some last night with 1 cup of raw milk, 1 cup of raw cream, 2 pasture eggs, a half cup of maple syrup, and some vanilla, and then just stir that, put it in the ice cream maker. I think like we've just adulterated it, like all the gums and all the things that we've added to ice cream. It's just not what we've turned it into isn't the same, but like true whole grass fed fats are fine. It's like just simplifying.
So you said something about like Japanese or Chinese acupuncture. Where did acupuncture originate? I don't know why. This is just like interesting to me.
Well, that would be China.
Okay.
But it's, I guess I don't look at the history a ton, but, there was just a really weird time in China where like, when the government was changing, then it was like illegal for a little while because they wanted to like get up with the modern times. But then I think Nixon had actually gone there and had really positive experiences with acupuncture. So they kind of brought it back in like a more barefoot, like historical way. And don't quote me. I mean, I'm not a big like historian with it. Like,
do you know how long it's been around?
2000 years.
2000 years.
Yeah.
So for those people that are like, oh, that's woo-woo stuff and it doesn't work, like, why would it be around for 2,000 years if it wasn't like helping someone?
Yeah.
Don't you think? I mean, you
everyone can make
a person that doesn't believe it, but
I just like things that work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when it comes to all this fertility stuff, like if you want to do Western or food or whatever, I just like things that work and it just works. So, I mean, whatever
I guess
people think.
The reason I was asking about the history of it is because in episode 43, we had interviewed a chiropractor and she told us a little bit about, I can't really remember the specifics, but how she, like chiropractic was seen as like witch medicine. But originally it was really the only, like we were using natural plants as medicine until the
like
Rockefellers
1890.
and
Yeah. There's been a lot of new things introduced and things that maybe were working just fine put beside. But I think that some of the new things that have been brought on the scene still add value.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'd certainly want to go to an ER, not an acupuncturist.
Right.
Well, I guess like Dr. Marcia said, he said that too. Like there's a certain place and time for certain doctors, but
for sure.
And I think it's important to note that you in particular, I know this because I had some IUI treatments to try to get pregnant. And during those, I was seeing you for acupuncture. So like sometimes some of these things can work hand in hand. What do you think about that?
I think that's true.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if someone's doing I'm not anti-Western. It's like whatever you got to do to get pregnant, you should just do it. But like, there's definitely things that we can do to support that. So like, it's not like you have to choose either or. Like IUI, there's timing to that. And the same thing with IVF. There's certain days and you want to time it around certain procedures and things like that. And and they've gotten a lot better at IVF. I feel like success rates have really improved.
So what made you want to become an acupuncturist?
Like my relationship to my career has changed so much. It's like almost hard for me to go back there, but I can. So I was in school to be a massage therapist and I just knew I wanted to help people and I didn't know how, and I didn't want to be a nurse because I was too queasy and didn't want to it was
Deal with poop on the floor.
Every now and then we'll get a puke, like every 10 years we'll get a puke or something.
Really? From acupuncture? Like from the treatment?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, it's usually like after transfer,
sick
sometimes if people have Valium, I've had one puke there, and then I've had people come in for morning sickness, and I had one.
Oh, sure.
Yep.
One that just
so acupuncture can support morning sickness.
It can, yeah.
Is there anything
for sure.
that it can't support? I don't know.
It's always worth trying, and finding out. And I think your provider, after a certain amount, sometimes people just need more treatments, and then sometimes people just have things that are so complex they just. We can only do what we can do. Some people, I'll still treat people even if they I have some people that know they're getting surgery for certain things, but we'll still do some stuff to just prep the body for surgery, but then also just, just get some relief, leading up to it, just some pain relief or whatever,
Or like you said, reduce the amount of cortisol being released in the body. It's probably just good for anybody, isn't it?
Yeah. But
can you have too low of cortisol?
You certainly can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
it's not something I've ever probably experienced.
Yeah. There's some weird things that can happen.
Yeah.
So going back to how you became an acupuncturist.
Yeah. Okay. So I was I knew I wanted to help people. Okay. So massage therapist first. And I'd been referred to get acupuncture as a high school athlete because I'd had some back pain, like a bulging disc. And then I was starting to get stomach pain from all the medication I was taking for my bulging disc. Then I was starting to get ulcer issues. And I was on birth control, just so many medicines, I think, at the time. And I also felt like the only solution that every doctor always gave me as a woman was just take birth control. And I'm like, well, for my skin or for regular or whatever. It was always just take birth control. But now, we're finding out that the effects on the body, after what you guys are talking about fertility, it doesn't just snap right back in when you stop it. It can take several years to reset the body from that. But I just wanted to help people. I finally in massage school started to kind of understand the theory because it's complex, but it's a system within itself. And once the system started to make sense to me, then I was like, I think I need to do that. So I did it. And all the stomach and back pain I think I came every 2 weeks for 2 months and I took herbs and all of my issues were gone. And so
I just had goosebumps from that. Like gone.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So,
so
then I was
the medicine.
Yeah, it was
like
great.
The other kind of medicine.
Yeah,
right?
and I feel like stomach stuff is like a whole other issue.
Yeah.
Like when your stomach feels bad, like you just don't feel right. Like, and so once all of that kind of happened, then I kind of switched gears in massage school, and I was like, wanting to do acupressure for people. And then I was like, well, why don't I just learn the whole thing?
Okay.
So I was an acupuncturist by the time I was like 24. I started. Yeah.
So how long have you been practicing?
17 years. But then before that I did massage, and then I did there was like a fertility massage that I was doing. And
what is that called?
There's like all these names. It's like our Vitago techniques of mind abdominal therapy. They might have changed it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have 2 people on staff that do it, and there was just like I can't remember as a business owner. It's like,
that's okay.
It's still the same massage. They have all these different names for things. Yeah.
Those, it's wild when this is like a side note, but when you get your stomach massaged, like I had that done, and it like, I could all of a sudden like feel all of these parts of my insides that I didn't know existed. I'm like, what is that? Do I have a tumor? Like, no, you can just feel your insides now, because it's funny what you can become aware of when you receive services like this. Yeah. I like that you mentioned like how quick this turned around for you with acupuncture, and you were saying you only were going every other week. Like, how often?
I couldn't afford to go any more than that.
Okay.
I was in college.
Oh, it's expensive.
Yeah.
But how often would you say someone, I don't like to should people, but like should come
What's the
and
recommended?
What's recommended for
fertility?
Yeah.
It kind of depends what you're working on, but usually I like to see people at least like weekly for a month or 6, and then but then it's kind of up to them and kind of where their level of endurance is with it. Like definitely be more aggressive would be weekly. To be more conservative, I would say like 1 pre-ov and then 1 around like implantation. So timing wise, that's what I would tend to recommend. So, and then sometimes, certain people in certain professions like teaching, they'll come and see me more like in the summer.
I wonder why we would have to come see you more.
Teaching isn't
stressful at all.
Yeah. But, between the 5-6 of us, like we have evenings and stuff, but I mean, teaching, it's hard to get on schedules for stuff. I feel like, but
can't leave your students.
So, and I kind of let people decide what they want to do. I mean, I'll treat them either way. Like, and it's hard for me to like intuit exactly their needs. Sometimes I think, well, they should probably be more aggressive, but they're like totally relaxed about where they're at, and vice versa. So I've learned to just present like a couple different options and see what they want to decide. And then if they want to like pick up the pace a couple cycles or then drop down, I'm flexible. I feel like, especially in the fertility world, I don't know. And then there's all this online stuff too, which I haven't really done too much of, but like, I think there's this feeling around whoever like jumps through enough hoops gets like a baby at the end. And
totally. 100. We've talked about that. Like it feels like you'll just, you're so desperate though. Like I was so desperate. I would have done anything, right? Like to make it happen.
Yeah.
But you can't make it happen. Like, right? Like sometimes it's just not how it's supposed to play out.
Yeah.
So Jess had alluded to it's expensive. So do you take insurance?
No, I have colleagues that do. Okay. We will take flex cards, and then we'll provide super bills if people want reimbursement. But we're not that expensive compared to fertility treatments, though.
Right.
Thank you.
Totally.
Yes, exactly.
What would you say on average would be the cost of one session of acupuncture?
It's usually 90 something. Okay. I think that's probably the going rate around here.
And it's about an hour long.
Yeah.
The session. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So walk us through a session. What does that look like? I come into the office, I check in.
Okay.
You get a
You
water.
get a tour.
Yeah. You could get lemon in your water if you wanted, if you go to Isthmus.
Yeah. And I should say, we also have a location in Sauk. So I know when you introduced
I forgot
me.
about that. Thank you for adding that.
So there's Isthmus Wellness Sauk too. And we have acupuncture and massage up there as well. But you can expect the same.
Yes. You could use the free massage chair as well. There's lots of great things over there.
So no, I mean, we do a full intake, kind of like what happened and what's happening now and what do you want to happen kind of a thing. I like to set like a short-term and a long-term goal with people, especially with fertility. In the short term, it might be like just reducing spotting in my luteal phase or lengthen my luteal phase by a day or improve my cervical mucus or whatever. And then with the long-term goal being like to fall pregnant and maintain the pregnancy or something like that. But
I remember having to talk about the mucus at the appointments and I was like, ooh, we're gonna.
How was it?
What?
Yeah.
Like, you want me to touch it? And I remember you asking all kinds of questions like that.
It's all bringing up memories over here on this side of the table.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
No.
Some of that feels weird when you've never been asked. Like, well, what is your mucus? Is it like sticky? I'm like, I don't know. Like, right? Like,
we should have had a little bit of a trigger warning before that conversation. If you're going to get grossed out by this.
I suppose.
Mucus.
You opened it up with the dog stories.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, we'll go through that. And I ask a lot of questions. I want to know the Western and then, whatever you're doing at home. And I personally like to spend a lot of time on what people are eating. Like, I feel like it's really hard to get enough protein and like enough like nutritionally dense food to heal really from anything. But in particular, like to balance hormones, there's so much in the way of food. And I've just, this whole intermittent fasting, I'm sorry if you guys like it, but
let's hear it.
I just, from a fertility and a women's hormone standpoint, I'm definitely not a fan. I think I've just seen a lot of backlash from that and a lot of, it just revs your cortisol in a not great way. Like if you want to skip a meal, like eat a big breakfast, like wake up with the sunrise, eat a big breakfast. The reason you want to wake up with the sunrise is without glasses on and everything is because that light is like the perfect light that tells your body what time of day it is and what to kind of make, like what amounts of cortisol to make for the day. It also primes you if you can like eat breakfast outside. I think that's probably one of the biggest things you can do for fertility is to wake up, not look at your phone, like have a like a big, protein like eggs or something and like just go outside and be in the sun and either have grounded shoes on or let your feet. And like, I feel like that does so much for your hormones, like more so than like taking all these supplements and all of these things could ever do.
And it feels so funny because it sounds funny to me because I totally am like, wake up, look at my phone. But I feel like as a human, I'd be a better human if I just woke up and fertility or not, right? Like, and so many people though just want the easy fix. They want to get the pill or whatever supplement. I'll take whatever supplement I need to take, right? But heaven forbid I don't look at my phone and walk outside in the morning, right? So it sounds like such a healthy recommendation to make.
Yeah, probably for anybody really to go outside. So like we just look at like little things like that, like little lifestyle things that could be just tripping you up. And like with the fasting stuff, I mean, I think if people want to skip any meal, dinner is probably the best.
So once we lay down on the table then.
So we'll talk about kind of your goals. I'll check your tongue and your pulse.
Oh yes, the tongue.
I
remember that. Okay.
That tells me kind of.
What does it tell you?
What does the tongue tell you?
It confirms like what's going. It's usually I use it more of a tool of confirmation.
Okay.
Unless we're really not speaking the same language.
Okay.
Like literally. Then I could use it more to diagnose. But typically we've talked so much that I can tell that like
what their tongue's
like
gonna
there's
look
probably
like.
going to be some teeth marks or it's probably going to be red at the tip or whatever.
What does it mean if there's red at the tip?
That's probably stress. It's like the heart or like too much caffeine or sugar can kind of give a redness, certain medications too. But yeah, usually it's stress or insomnia.
What other things do you see on there that tell you? Like, I want to know another one.
Yeah. I mean, so on the sides, like the teeth marks, that's usually like an indication of a sluggish digestion. So things aren't moving as quickly as they should. So it could be dampness accumulating, fluid. Like even if they have a strong digestion, but then they have a lot of mucus from allergies or whatever, that could still give them, some swelling.
I'm going to look at my husband's tongue now because he's complaining of allergies.
Yeah. It's a rough year for it. The color of the coat, if it wiggles, the size, shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people can't stick their tongue out steady.
Really?
I really want to
I'm
do it right now.
That's pretty steady.
How does mine look right now?
Let me see. It's a little purple, a little pale, actually. Can I see under? Like that. And a little dark underneath. So
what does that mean?
The paleness is like you probably just need to eat organ meats, like some liver.
Yeah, no way is she going to do that.
Are you vegetarian right now? Then it's on your
vegetarian
tongue.
Since I was like 8.
I'm sorry, I can't remember that you're vegetarian.
That's funny.
So there's like liver pills.
Well,
just
you
saying.
I don't know.
Anyway,
you could take a pill.
Derail.
So no, I mean it's interesting. Yeah, and then there's still
Okay, so we lay on the bed, you look at the tongue, you put the needles in.
Check the tummy, typically. Yeah. I mean, if we're talking fertility and they're in like implantation stage, a lot of times I'll have them go face down. I just like a lot of the points that really support like kind of like, I guess they would translate as like they pull things up, like a fetus stabilizing energy of sorts. So sometimes, depending on the way their pulse feels, I'll typically have them go face down.
Okay. Yeah. And then I know after the needles are put in, the client stays like that for 30 minutes?
Yeah. A lot of times I use essential oils just as another way to move energy. We have a company that is acupuncturist owned, and they make little like oil blends that match our pattern diagnosis. Because we don't diagnose, we treat treat patterns in Chinese medicine. So we're not diagnosing, you're treating disease.
What are some of the typical patterns you're treating when infertility is like the issue? Is there one that stands out?
No, there's not.
Okay.
There can be a lot. It's a really different. It's very individual.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah. What's the brand of essential oils that you use?
We use Snow Lotus.
Okay.
I mean, we like Young Living.
Okay.
But like Young Living, they just changed their rules, and so you can't like open them and use them in treatment. You can only sell them to the end user.
Oh, okay.
So we still have Young Living if people like those, but in treatment we use Snow Lotus, which I like. They're from Colorado. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so then I just remember I fell asleep a lot because it is very peaceful and relaxing. And is it about 30 minutes?
Typically, yeah. And there's, that's what I generally I'll tell people. Like, there's no right way you need to be during acupuncture. Like, if you just lay here and think, if you fall asleep, if you kind of drift in, drift out, like your body's just doing whatever next step it needs. So you don't have to try to force or like mood make or force deep breathing if that's not what you're wanting or needing. So, but yeah, it'll still work if you're sleeping. Sometimes even better because you're
even more relaxed.
Yeah, go a little deeper. And then we always give people call buttons. I feel like that's important to mention just because I sometimes hear stories of people like needing their acupuncturist, but they just would have to kind of say their name or I mean, I think most places probably give call buttons at this point, but I feel like the newcomer sometimes is like, they're gonna just leave me alone in there with needles for a half hour. So so we have these at the new place we have like a little pager thing that'll beep us in and stuff individually.
About how many needles do you put in? Like, what's the range?
20 to 30.
Oh, okay.
Something. 20 to 30 something.
Okay. Are there success rates for acupuncture paired with infertility?
Yeah, I think there are. Yeah, I'm not a big, like, I don't regurgitate a lot of numbers because I feel like people usually come in having an idea of what they are in relationship to numbers. So I try to really get away from that. Mm-hmm. And I feel like for me as a provider, it can almost start to affect my outlook on, like, I always want to stay in a really trusting and positive place. So I try not to like relate too much to that stuff. But there are definitely good numbers coming out that you can find online. I don't know. I don't know. And people are like, this has a 6.2% of chance of working with my body. And it's just like, we've just been, I don't know. We just have to be real careful about how we speak to people and their bodies.
Yeah,
I could not agree with that more.
I was going to say, I can remember knowing the success rates for acupuncture and feeling like a very big failure because I was not one of those percentages. I was on the other side. So,
And with IUI, and, all the things.
Yeah.
Numbers aren't always helpful.
Yeah.
Very true. So, so I hear with infertility, but also sports type medicine, right? Just because we want to feel better about ourselves. But what else, why else would we do acupuncture?
I mean, I think some of the main, I do mostly treat like fertility and pregnancy and hormone issues. I would say that's like 50 to 60% of my practice, or people that I have treated at one point for pregnancy that I just, will do like wellness visits, stress, insomnia, like random
neck pain. I've totally seen you for neck pain before. And it's amazing how you're like, my neck hurts, and then you put needles in my wrist, and then I leave feeling fine. Like, okay, well, it worked.
Who else would benefit from acupuncture? I mean, we see a lot of like autoimmune neurological issues. I mean, even this year, I feel like we've seen definitely more like post-viral issues. So I think acupuncture and particularly herbs and some specific, there's seasons for supplements. I don't think people should just take a bunch of grocery bag all the time forever. And there's definitely different quality, but like, there's a lot of that. We do facial rejuvenation. I mean, that's more of a kind of a fun service.
If I'm there for fertility, you may as well try to get some lines reduced. And it's funny because I remember I pointed out a line that I wanted like to work on, and she was like, "Oh, and do you want me to do these two over here?" And I was like, I actually didn't even notice those two over there, but now I do. Anyways, but may as well throw in a little facial rejuvenation with any other treatment. Like,
and then digestive, like a lot in that realm, but a lot of, I feel like anxiety is a big one, and
depression.
Yeah, just like some of that, like mental health sphere, and a lot with insomnia, headaches, fertility, menopause, weight gain, hormonal weight gain.
Acupuncture, I don't want to use the word cure, but I don't have a better word. Cancer?
No, definitely can't cure cancer. We support a lot of cancer treatments. So depending on where they are in the process, I think there's specific providers that might only specialize in that, but we certainly will see people like for example, if you're getting chemo, have acupuncture to decrease the side effects, the nausea. We'll do that, and we'll usually try to time it. It's a little tricky to time just because the infusion clinic can get off schedule a little bit, but we try to kind of time it all in a certain way. It's exciting.
It is exciting. It is. And I imagine just, again, like reducing the cortisol.
Because cortisol then will leach progesterone. So like a lot of hormonal stuff is finding that balance of estrogen and progesterone. And it can be tricky with testing. And I know a lot of people have strong opinions about that. But sometimes what's in your blood isn't always the same as your tissue. And there can just be it's such a changing thing.
Do you do the blood testing at the clinic, or I would have to go somewhere else and get it?
I would do I think the best test probably would be like one of the Dutch urine tests. It's a big,
a urine test, not a blood test.
Big commitment. But
I remember.
Did you do that?
Nope. But I remember the stool sample test.
I just won't do those.
I refused. I was like, that I'm not doing that. It was not Chandon that asked me to do it. It was a different acupuncturist.
I don't do that.
Yeah. But yeah.
What'd they want you to do? Poop in a bag? And
then they were going to test my poop. And I was like, But do you remember, episode 5 and 6 when we interviewed Shannon?
Yeah.
You see, she did that.
Yeah. I remember them. Or no, that was blood. I did a blood test for my food sensitivities.
Yeah, that's a thing too.
That's that was part of that was an acupuncturist recommendation though, to go and get the food testing or my blood tested to get the information for the food. So at Isthmus, it sounds like you will also, I don't know if prescribe is the right word, but like some sort of system for supplements. Like, can they get, if someone comes for an appointment, you'll tell them what they need and
we meet frequently, the acupuncture team. And so we do feel like we try to start small just so we can track like what everyone's responding to and what they're not responding to supplement wise. So usually we'll just start like 1 or 2 new things, especially like with fertility per cycle. I don't want to. Yeah. And I always ask people, just tell me if you need more from me, because I can give you more recommendations, like depending on where you are in your cycle. Like one newer thing that
are you saying just like your ability to absorb all this information, right?
Yeah, I don't want to overwhelm anyone. So usually the first time is followed up with an email, if that's what they would like, of just like, this is what we talked about. This is where you go for this. Like one thing I've been learning more about is the ovarium cervical cap. So it's like an at-home way of doing increasing your chances of getting pregnant. It's called like a cervical cap home insemination.
I would have been doing this.
I'm like,
well, I mean, you don't have to put your legs up the wall. Yeah. that's their slogan. Yeah. So it's kind of
actually their slogan.
I know it for sure. It's on their website, but it's like it's a woman-owned company. Yeah. But like the cervical caps, you need to be measured for, which is something you can certainly do. But we just recently have been recommending these as just because I feel like we have a lot of people too in those in between phases where like I'll do some supplements, but I'm not ready to do Western. So I feel like this is kind of a nice middle ground. So the ovarian, the cervical, it's a cervical cap of sorts. It's not an exact cervical cap. Okay. But I can give you the link to the product because we carry it at the office. But there's basically 2 different sizes, which I think is great because I feel like a lot of women don't want to like, now I have to go and get measured and get ordered. Yeah. You know, I just feel like however people can like get access to
all the appointments does sometimes feel very overwhelming.
Yeah.
Especially at the time I was trying to get out of a classroom, which is like nearly impossible.
It's really hard.
So that is nice that you can just get it at Isthmus.
Yeah. So and like the research I've seen is pretty promising. Like it only costs
just shove it in there and stays in there.
And it just keeps the sperm up by the cervix, gives the cervical mucus more time to
my God.
sift and sort.
Wow. And way better than just holding your legs up the wall.
Yeah.
Why did I invent this?
I know, right?
I know. When I saw it, I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So when we interviewed, again, episode 43 with Marsha, she was saying that treatments aren't just for women, that there's 2 partners here. So do you treat a lot of men?
If they want. If they're open,
But we should them.
Maybe. I mean,
Do you feel that a male going to acupuncture could perhaps. Like Dr. Marsha was very much like, you need both of you doing this together. Would you like that?
I don't push it.
Okay.
But that's ideal.
That's ideal.
I mean, it is ideal. I really don't push it because my least favorite patient is the one that's been put up to come in.
Of course.
You know?
Is it usually the husband that's like, my wife made me this appointment?
Yeah. And not to, like, we do see a lot of men, particularly some of the acupuncturists that do more sports stuff. Like, we certainly treat men all the time, but
not necessarily for fertility.
Like, I mean, I'm pretty comfortable treating men for fertility, and I feel pretty confident with men's like I feel like the sperm honestly tends to like respond pretty fast, so we're seeing counts and stuff improve, but it's pretty few and far between
of them attending.
Unless they have like
women, if you're hearing me, get those men on board, because it's not just all about your hormones.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, the age of the male partner can also, there's a lot of factors.
Right.
And I think even if they just come in once a month, if the guys can come in like the week before the females are, their partners are ovulating, then that's a good time. And there's lots of other benefits probably, but sometimes they're not willing to do a lot of deep dives, but they're open to like, okay, I'll come like once a month for a few months or whatever. So, but they also respond well to a lot of specific supplements.
Okay.
The sperm count and those things. So,
I remember Boy just like eating a bunch of walnuts or something.
One
month. Like, I don't know.
There's
certain
something,
foods, of course. Like, so we had like walnut bowls all over the house. Like,
funny.
Oh my gosh. The thing, I kind of forgot about that one.
That's really funny.
I know.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
The things we will do. Right?
Walnut bowls all over the house.
Yeah.
They're not even that good of a nut.
Yeah.
Anyway. Any more questions?
I am just so fascinated by all the different types of things that people can do to support pregnancy. But I think that like even more so like to be healthy.
Yeah.
I think that
I feel like I should be going to acupuncture.
Well, and I think I was going for the wrong reasons. Like I was just going because I wanted a baby and that was it. Yeah. And I really feel like if I were to do it over again,
go to just be healthy. And
well, then I was thinking, would I do this over again? Because I want my family that I have, so I don't want to rewind. So I wanted to like eat my words there, but go to be healthy and not try to control this.
Right.
Yeah. I think when you can come at it from like having a different mindset of just really like improving overall health and coming not like a rule following place, but just really trying to improve health and feel good. And like everything's so easy to do, like even for me, like right now I just like did a cleanse and I was doing castor oil packs and like things that I ask my clients and stuff to do. And it's like, it doesn't feel like a chore because I feel like it's this expression of love and care and we just don't get enough of that. And so just slowing down and treating my body well, like, and going for appointments, like I have an appointment after this. And sometimes it's not even about like the frequency, it's just about the consistency of it, like just consistently kind of staying with things
and taking care of your body. The only place you have to live.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all of your smarts with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Very much. If you would like to see Shandon, you can go see her in Sauk or in Madison.
I'm just in Madison now.
Okay, you're just
and I should say it's Shandon Williams because people usually cannot spell my first name. So they need that last name to find me.
Do you want to spell it for them?
My first name? Sure. Chandon.
Shannon Wellness, Isthmus Acupuncture. And I know you have brought a quote to share with us today.
Yeah. Beautiful things don't ask for attention. And that's from that movie that I watched on the DVD last night.
Oh, yeah.
The Secret Life of Walter Mitty or something. Yeah.
Can you say it one more time?
Say the quote one more time. I like that.
Beautiful things don't ask for attention.
Thank you for listening and being a part of our community. Please follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
If you'd like to connect, we can be reached at podcastfromtheretohere@gmail.com. We hope you continue on this journey with us.